Hello, everyone. Happy Monday. Thank you for joining me here tonight. My name is Alyssa Thomas from Penguin and Fish, where we make lovely and quirky hand embroidery kits. And I'm here every weeknight at 8:30 p.m. Central Time. And it's a time that we can relax and craft together for about an hour here. And I work on projects from beginning to end, so you can be part of the whole process along the way. So thank you guys for joining me. I have been out for over a week, so it's going to be fun. It's going to be nice to be back here with you guys today. So we are going to stitch up a cute little owl embroidery today. I thought this would be just a fun project for the week, a fun kind of Halloween project. And we can just learn some stitches and just work on a nice, fun, relaxing project before getting into a quilt and stuff again. And then it's Finish It Friday on Friday, if you can believe it. So Friday is November 1st. So we'll be working on one of our unfinished projects on Friday. So a couple days on this embroidery and then a Finish It Friday project. Oh, it's so nice to see everyone popping in. It's nice to see everyone again. I'm happy to be back, you guys. So just with the owl embroidery, I wanted to let you know that I'm also doing like just a flash sale for 50% off, which is a ton. 50% off of the owl embroidery kit through the end of the month here, so through Thursday. So if you wanted to stitch up one of these guys, now would be the time to get a kit. So letting you know about that. And I thought I would do a giveaway for our finished kit. I'm hoping that we will finish this by the end of the week, by Thursday. And we might even do some fun extra stuff with it. And I thought anyone who shares this video or any of the couple videos until Thursday will get in the drawing to win our finished guy here. And if you can enter more than once too, you can share any of these upcoming videos. So this will be the first video for that. So anyway, thank you guys for coming. It is nice to see you all again. I'm going to flip you around so we can get started. Love seeing you popping in. All right, I am going to start tonight by just opening up this package and getting the iron-on transfer going. But it is so nice to see everyone again. Oh, love the tower in the background. Yes, so I have my Little Felton Village spooky clock tower in the background. It's got its little lights on and stuff. I'll show you guys that again when we're done here. But that was from Bet's White. That's the project that we just finished right before I left. Good evening, it's cold. Yes, it is cold by us too. It was in the, I don't think it got above 30 today. So that's crazy town. It's been a while since it's been like that. All right, grabbing all my stuff from the kit. We got our thread. Set that aside. I got my little needle in here. All right, and I just grabbed the iron-on transfer. Here's our little stitch and color guide too. So, all right. Let's get this guy transferred. I would love to get stitching right away here. Oh, you can't stand TV time. I know, you guys, I have been gone a while, and it felt weird to be gone so long. So we were visiting family in California, it was just nice. We were actually there because we had a family member that needed surgery, so we went out for the surgery, and everything went fine, and they're fine. I don't know if they want me talking about it, so I won't get into it too much, but we were there for the surgery, and it all went okay, and now we're back. But yeah, I think I'm gonna iron my my little ribbon here quick. It's kind of fun just to have a nice clean ribbon. going to try and grab it and just slide it under. Yes, so I think they're kind of in that, fire area, I think. I think a little bit more than maybe they want to let on is kind of how I was feeling. So, and it was actually when we used to live there. I'm going to just, first of all, I'm just going to tear off this Iron Me text here. So you don't want to keep that on because that will actually transfer to your fabric. So I'm just going to tear that off. So there we go. We got our little guy here. I'm going to put a little piece of, this is just a paper towel. I'm going to put that underneath. You can use a paper towel or like a paper bag or something, but you will want something when you're transferring your design. You will want something underneath your fabric because otherwise you're going to get a nice old owl on your ironing board. And actually, if you do get it on your ironing board, just take a paper towel and press it a few times. It will kind of be permanent on the ironing board, but you don't want it to then transfer to another thing that you ironed. So be sure to get just a paper towel down there. And here we go. I am going to preheat my fabric. So I have my iron, it's a dry iron, so it means that I don't have any water in it. It's just dry. And I have it on high, I have it on the cotton setting, and I'm just preheating my fabric by just ironing it a little bit. And then I'm going to place this guy in the middle. And then I'm going to just put the iron right on top. And it should pretty immediately, start transferring. So it should only take like 5 seconds or so. And I just kind of keep picking it up and testing it. Yeah, we're good to go. So see, it goes that quickly. And I think really the key is preheating. So you really do want your fabric hot, or you want your fabric warm, and then you want to do this. And you don't want to really rub with the iron when it's on because it could wiggle a little bit, so you'll have a little bit blurry lines. But you do want to kind of press down and just kind of move it across, like count like maybe to 4 or 5 seconds. What you don't want to do is hold it down there forever because you might get a burn in your fabric just from holding the iron onto the fabric. So preheating is I think the key for this. But that was super easy just to transfer it on there. So you can kind of even see it on the paper there. You can actually use the transfer several times. So, I could probably get at least maybe 3 more out of here. But all right, I am going to move this and we'll get going. But yeah, so where a lot of the fires are, or were last year, I think that was last year where all the fires were, was actually where we lived for a year, when we lived in Northern California for a year. And I don't know, they're not really all that far away from the fire stuff, so I don't know. I'm thinking if it was us living out there still, we would have at least a bag ready to go or some sort of plan. I don't know. That's just freaking scary stuff. Fires. Oh, there's bushfires in Australia too. Ah, jeez. It's just, as far as natural disasters go, that's a scary one. Fire and water. I mean, like we have the cold, obviously, right? If you don't have power or heat at 30 below, that's a big problem. But it's not like a fire coming at you. I don't know. So hopefully you guys, if you're out there or in Australia too, just stay safe and be on the safe side. Just go and stay in a hotel somewhere for a little if you can or something. But it's scary. All right, you guys, we are in the hoop. I just put the outer hoop, or I have the inner hoop, and I laid the fabric on top, and then put the outer hoop on top. What I like doing is just kind of pulling on the fabric a little bit. If I feel like any weird bumps in here, I'll just kind of stretch it out a little bit more. And then I'll tighten this a little bit. Okay, so let's start with, let's take a look at this one. So we actually have 3 stitches in this. So we have the French knot, which are all little dots. There's the back stitch, which is all the outlines, and the satin stitch, which are the filled in shape. So in this case, it's the wings and the little beak there. So there we go. There's the 3 stitches: French knot, back stitch, and then the satin stitch on the edge here, and the beak. So how do you decide what to do first? Here's where my thought process goes. So first of all, if I can, I typically try and do French knots last, because they're raised a little bit off the surface, and I find that I can sometimes catch, when I'm stitching, I sometimes can catch my thread, like my loop of thread on a knot, and that's a huge bummer, especially if you don't notice it. So I like to leave French knots to the end, so I will do that. Oh, Joe, yes, so I do actually have a PDF pattern of the owl. It has the letters underneath, so it does have the O, but you can cut that off, and yeah, you can for sure use that with Fabricelvi. So there is a PDF version on penguinandfish.com of this. All right, so I'm going to definitely leave the French knots to the end. So what to do next? I think I am going to do the satin stitch first. And the reason for that is because it's going to have a kind of a jaggedy edge where we put the stitches in, and this back stitch will cover that jagged edge right up. So it's kind of like, you know, if I'm doing a lot of stitches, you know, if these are all my satin stitches, right? I may not be like totally perfect on the edge here, but if I cover that up with my back stitches after, then I have like a nice clean edge here. So that's how I'm making my decision on the owl of what to stitch first. So I'll do the satin stitch wings, and I'll probably just do the beak too, since, you know, if we're on the satin stitch still. And then I will do the lines that will cover up like those edges. Probably start with, then I always kind of like to start with the furthest back. So since this eye looks like it's on top of this line, I will do the line first. Like the wing is the most farthest back, then this line, and then the eyeball. And actually, we can get these little feet before this line too, but we'll see. That's thinking too far ahead. For now, I'm going to just work on that satin stitch. So I need some light colored purple floss here. So there's some dark purple here. I'm going to cut them both right away. I like cutting really no more than 24 inches. I'm going to just cut them both, and then I'll have a purple one ready to go. I know he's got those little itty bitty legs, little tiny legs here. All right, so I'm gonna only stitch with 3 threads. So this is 6-strand embroidery floss, which literally means it has 6 strands that make it up, and it was designed to be really easy to separate. And the reason for that is the different number of threads equal or make a different thickness of line. So I did 3 strands in this design, so I'm going to do the 3 just because I like this thickness of line. But you guys remember we just did that floss thickness guide. So here's kind of what I'm talking about. So 1 strand of floss taken from here. This is just stitched with 1 strand of floss versus all the way down here, it's with all 6 that it comes with. So it comes with 6 strands in one of these. We're going to go right in the middle here. So it's kind of a medium-sized line. But really, you could do whatever you want, depending on how thick of a line you want. I kind of like this middle line, so I always do 3 strands. But look at the difference. This is 6 strands to 1 strand. I mean, you can really get a different look going with it. So, but in this case, we're just going to stick to the 3 strands. All right, so I'm going to start by just isolating one of the strands. There we go. There. So I'm going to hold one of the strands and hold all the rest just in between my 2 fingers like this. And I'm going to pull on that one strand. It's all going to bunch up and look like a giant knot, but once that strand comes out, it just totally releases and it's good to go. So I'm going to do that 2 more times. So here's another thread, 2, and this really is the fastest way to do this, and your stitches will lay flatter, especially when we do the satin stitch here. So, all right, this guy I will set aside, and these 3 fellers I will stick together here. Yeah, I missed some of your guys' comments, but hopefully you're all staying safe with the fires and everything. That's a scary one for sure. And it's just scary, like, getting out of there. Like, get out early if you can, just because, you know, roads are gonna fill up and stuff, and that's scary too. Look, you guys, I pinched my finger in a door when I was gone, so I'm gonna have a little blood blister there for a little while. All right, so we're gonna do satin stitch. I'm gonna start on this side here. So I'm gonna just go horizontal. I mean, you could go vertical if you wanted. All those are pretty big stitches from here to here in a satin stitch. That's almost 1.5 inches. That's pretty big. That's what we call a toe catcher. So for a satin stitch, I like my stitches being small enough that you're not gonna catch anything easily underneath. So I'm gonna go horizontal. You could actually divide it up and do, you know, all different patterns. So I'm just gonna draw again, you guys, just because I think it's kind of interesting. I'm gonna just go all horizontal like this. But you could also do several rows of satin stitch. You know, these are vertical ones, but I'm doing several rows of them, and that could be like an interesting look too. So there's options, but I'm gonna just go sideways like this. And actually, this is a friction pen, so it'll kind of go away. I might just even draw some guides in here, just so I can stick to the horizontal, just so I'm not like veering off at an angle eventually too. So there we go. Putting a few lines, and you know what? Let's just throw them in on this side right away since I got the pen right here. That's just to kind of help me, just so I don't like veer at an angle eventually, because you're always going to have to be checking: am I going to angle, or am I still straight? All right, let's see if we'll get stitching here, you guys. I'm also going to start with an away knot, which is a knot at the end of my thread, but I'm going to put my needle from the front to the back about 4 inches away from where I want to start stitching. So I'm going to start stitching here, so about 4 inches away. And we will later cut that off and tuck in the edge. It'll make sense in a bit. Oh, thanks, Grace. Yeah, you guys, if you're just coming in, I'm going to give away this finished, the finished owl here once we're done with this week. And I'm going to just do a giveaway for it. So to be entered, just share this video on Facebook or share any of the ones that will come after this. So we'll be working on this for a few days. So if you share any of those videos, then you'll be entered. All right, so I'm starting kind of right on the bottom here. And I think I'm going to come up on this line and I'm going to stitch this direction. So I always want to start on the same side and then end up on the other side. I'm not going to go back and forth like a ladder. It will be always on one side, then I'm going to go all the way back underneath and then come up again on the same side each time. So I'm going to start here. My first stitch is just going to be from here to there. I'm just going from this line to the opposite line, and I'm going to go right across, like over the top of it, so you don't see the line. So all right, let's do from right there. And I'm going from right to left on this to right there. So there we go, my first little tiny stitch. So I'm going to come up right next to where we started. And I am literally like one or two, right now I'm at one little fabric strands away. So I am only, oops, sorry you guys, only one little tiny thread away on the fabric. And I'm going to go straight across, so about right there, you know, so I'm on this line. This line's going to keep moving because that's a big arc. But I'm still going to only be like one strand away up and down from the other bit. So again, back to the first side and the second side. And again, I'm going just past that line. Oh, Nolene, are you buy all that stuff? Ugh, that's, yeah, scary, scary. So then we're just continuing. So one thing I'm paying attention to is, am I getting too bunched up here? Like if it really feels like it's getting to be a lot, then maybe the next stitch, instead of going one strand away, I'll go two little threads away, just to give it a little bit more air, and then go back to like one the next time. The other thing I'm trying to be aware of is, am I veering one way or the other way at an angle? So right now I can already tell, just barely, I'm kind of angling up just a tiny hair, and I can tell because it's close to this horizontal line here. So I'm going to just kind of try to tweak it out this way again. And what I'm going to do for that is I'll go up like two threads on this side, but only one on this side. So I'm just going to try and keep it tight on this side. And let's try airing it out a bit on this side. So I'm going like two threads up. And then just one thread on this side again. So overall, like once it all kind of averages out, then they'll all look like I did them horizontal. All right, we're approaching that first line, and it still looks like we're not totally horizontal with that, so I'm going to do that again. I'm going to go up like two threads on the right, and then just keep it tighter, like one thread on the left here. There we go. So here's our first little line marker. Oh, it's so nice to see you guys too. Oh, here's my away knot right there. So what we're doing with that is, here we go. Look, we have even stand stitches on the back here. But we have like this big loop right here now. So what we're going to do is, when I run out of thread here, I'm going to weave in the ends here. I'm going to try and avoid knots on the back of my design. First of all, I think it's a little cleaner without knots when you just weave in your ends. You don't accidentally pull up those little ends of the knots, that little fluffy little bit of the floss that's at the end. Sometimes when you stitch and you have a knot, that will come up to the front, and then you got these little threads on the front, which is annoying. And the worst is when you have a knot on the back and you accidentally like hook your thread like this. If this is a knot, you hook your thread on the knot and you keep stitching, and then you don't know, like, oh my gosh, I have this whole loop that was, is just messy and hanging out there now. So by avoiding knots on the back, you eliminate like all those issues. So when I'm done with this, I'm going to weave in the ends into my stitches, and then I will cut away this knot, and I'll have a piece of thread that's that long, and I'll weave in that end as well. And I'll therefore have like no knots on this piece at all. All right, let's keep stitching. This satin stitch, this is definitely going to be the longest part of this project. But it's pretty. Satin stitches are so pretty. It's a fun way to fill a space. And it does give this kind of flat satin look. And it does kind of shine in the light too, a little bit too. So one thing we did a little while back, we did do some satin stitch experiments, and we did a satin stitch with just one strand of thread. Right now we're using the 3. We did it with one strand, and it took forever because it's only one strand. It's not covering much surface area, right? But, ooh, did it look shiny and flat and just perfect. So the one strand, if you have the patience, one strand is totally the way to go for really, really, really satiny, shiny stitches, because all your stitches just lay flat next to each other. When you up it to like 3, like this, you are going to have strands overlaying each other a little bit, and that gets rid of a little bit of the shine because they're crisscrossing, the light doesn't hit it in the same way. So not as shiny, but it's just faster. This 3 strands is just faster than doing one strand, and it still looks nice. I'm not mad about it. I have not used silk embroidery thread, but I was thinking about that a lot actually after we did our satin stitch embroidery. When was it? Like a month or so ago, like that little experiment. And it would be fun to try satin stitch with silk embroidery. I don't actually own any silk embroidery thread. That might be something to get my hands on one of these days here. Has any of you tried it? They make silk embroidery thread. And I'm guessing you stitch onto silk too. But gosh, that's gotta look shiny. I'm wondering if that's difficult to work with at all. All right, you guys, I am almost out of thread already. This satin stitch does use up a lot of thread, but it's because, you have it on the back too. So I'm gonna finish up. I think I can get 2 more stitches out of here. You would use less if you came up on this side right away. It's tempting to do that. It's tempting to do that because then you're not wasting all this thread in the back too. But if you go right next to your last stitch, you are banking on the strength of your fabric here, because you're only catching one strand of thread there, right? Like if I instead of coming all the way to the beginning side like this, if I come up right next to my last stitch here, I only have one strand of floss in between this and the one strand of thread of the fabric in between that stitch and the one before. And if that breaks, then your stitch is coming out, right? And it also doesn't lay as flat. You get like these weird kind of S loops a little bit. So 2 reasons to not go right next to it, but the biggest reason is that it could be dangerous to like
your thread just, you know, breaking the fabric in the back here. All right, I am going to flip around, and I could probably get one or stitch or so, but I think we're probably good. I'm going to weave in the backs of these stitches, so I'm just going to try and grab as many threads as I can one way, and back again, stabbing all these threads and getting as many little bits as I can so it stays more solid. And I'm going to go one more. It's the third is the charm. That kind of locks it in place. If you pull it from the front, then you can't really pull it out if you do the 3. All right. And I'm going to snip it close to the stitches. Not so close that I'm accidentally going to cut it, but I am close there. So no knot. It's still perfectly smooth. You know, my stitch is just woven in there, so there is no knot for me to get caught on ever here, which is awesome. That's just so annoying when you're stitching and your thread gets caught on the back. Oh, you use silk thread for applique. Oh, you have it in Like It. It's a bit fussy. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I've never used it. Is it kind of, does it just like want to fray apart into a bunch of different bits? Is that kind of what's fussy about it? Okay, you guys, if you didn't notice, I just cut off that away knot that I had on the front. So I just pulled it up a little bit and I just snipped it off. Here's the knot. You can actually see the knot in there yet. We're just going to toss that. And then on the back, now this is not tied down anymore. So I have another little end that I can stitch in. So I'm going to thread my needle again. And I'm going to weave in this end as well, so I don't have a knot there either. Like, you know, because the typical way is you just tie a knot and then you start stitching, right? So we are wasting a little bit of floss at the beginning here, but the trade-off is that we don't have this knot. Oh, so silk thread, it just likes to coil up. Oh, interesting. So it really holds its twist or something, and it doesn't want to be aggravated. That's interesting. All right, so there are my 3 back and forths. Let's snip that. That was 3, right? 1, 2, 3, yeah. Okay. And there we go, the start of our satin stitches. So it looks like we got about halfway, so our next bit hopefully gets us all the way up there. I don't want like 2 stitches left over, that'd be a bummer. But here we go. So I'm gonna this is my 3 strands that I had left over. So in theory, for satin stitch, this will probably lay flatter if I pull out all 3 of these strands and lay them flat again and then rethread it, versus the 3 strands that I have now that are still in that original twist. Remember, I pulled out the 3 strands from here and then laid them flat and then combined them again. These still have that original twist. I'm kind of curious if it looks that much different. You know, the theory is that they lay flatter if I pull them all out again and put them together. But that's what we did for this. So I'm kind of curious. I kind of want to do this, just twist it up like this still, to see if it's really that much of a difference. Because if it's not, then maybe I won't feel bad for not pulling all the threads out again, right? So we don't have to do the away knot anymore because we have something on the back that I can stitch into. So we're not going to waste that 4 inches anymore. So I'm going to just weave in the ends here. I'm weaving so I kind of end up on this side. So I'm going 1, 2, and then 3 will leave me back at the top where we haven't stitched yet. So I'm going to pull this about to there. We'll snip that off, but I don't want to accidentally pull it through. So I'm going to grab as many stitches as I can again. So that's 2, and then back up And then I'm going to snip off those little beginning threads. Oh, you just use shorter lengths of thread. Yeah, that was something that use shorter lengths of thread to prevent tangling on the silk thread. They're using shorter strands of thread. I do that with this embroidery floss now too, and that took me a long time to accept. I always, when I used to cross stitch and embroider when I was little, I would get the longest piece of thread possible, so I didn't have to cut a new piece, so I didn't have to deal with that at all. And I would have so many more knots, and the thread pulling through the fabric so many times, it actually kind of weakens the thread or the floss, because there's so much friction. Like every time I pull this through, I'm kind of weakening the floss, right? Because it's just rubbing. So if you're doing that with a huge long strand, you're weakening it. And you can actually see it on cheaper embroidery floss. It actually gets a little fuzzy and frays as you go. And yes, that's the last thing. Gretchen says, my grandma used to say no longer than your elbow. So that can really, really make a difference on repetitive stress. If you have a long thread, you're like pulling and pulling, and your shoulder's way back, and your arms as far out as it can go because it's trying to pull this thread through. If you have a shorter piece of thread, you're just going like this far. Your movements are only right here. So that actually speeds up the process and kind of reduces some of that shoulder pain that can happen if you're doing this for a long time. It is a pain to keep getting new pieces of floss, but I'm a convert. I used to use all the longest pieces, but now I'm getting my little short pieces. I still get my 24 inches though. I still get that, the 2 feet. 18 inches to 24 inches is kind of usually where I'm at. Oh, you use silk for applique too. Oh, you use beeswax for the silk embroidery. Oh, you don't think you can use it on the silk embroidery? Oh, interesting. You think you can see the difference in the smoothness? Yeah, that's what I'm wondering too. So from here, about here up is where I didn't pull out the threads again, and from here down I did. So I think you might be right. I think this bottom area, like the color looks more consistent, and it does look a bit shinier, doesn't it? This looks a little bit more rough. So there might be some truth to that. I mean, it made logical sense, but I wanted to see it. I wanted to see the difference. But yeah, it's just not quite as flat. You can see the stitches more as individual stitches and not blended together as like a nice satin stitch. Oh, it looks puffier. Yeah, I think it looks puffier just because it's just the thread is more twisted. So speaking of puffy satin stitches, when we were going through that satin stitch experiment a month or two ago, we were stitching the alligator embroidery, and that had all the satin stitching in, and we tried a few ways of satin stitching. We talked about padded satin stitching, so this is not a padded satin stitch right now. A padded satin stitch is where it is it's like rounded almost. It's just lifted off the fabric a little bit more than this is. You can get like really cute. It's a cute effect when it's puffy like that. You can get that by stitching around the outside with a back stitch first, and then stitching your satin stitches on top of it. And actually, I don't think we should do that for this wing because it should probably be similar to this. But maybe for the beak, just this little area, maybe we try and do that as a padded satin stitch, just so it stands out a little bit more. That'd be kind of fun. Leslie, I did bring an emergency craft kit to California, so I I always have to have an emergency craft kit with me because you never know when you might need to be crafting. Like if you get stuck in line somewhere, or your like plane ride gets canceled or shifted 6 hours or whatever. You might need that emergency craft kit, right? So I just like having it with me, and I have particular products specifically designed to be my emergency craft projects. Like they don't have to be done in any immediate amount of time. I can pick them up real quickly without really having to know much where I left off, and I can do like 3 stitches and put it away, and that will be fine. So I did have an emergency craft kit. I should get it out. I'll show you guys tomorrow. But it's that doily that I'm crocheting out of that 12 weight thread. So it's this teeny, 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 tiny purple doily. It sounds so silly, but it fits in a tiny bag. And I put a scissors in there and the instructions, and it literally fits in the Ziploc. It's about this big and this wide when it travels. So I had it just in a pencil case sitting in my bag, and I did break it out one night when we were just watching TV. I got it out and I did a round or two on it. I'll bring it out tomorrow. And then, then when I got home, I putzed around on it a little bit more just because it was relaxing. Yes, so the scissors, so that is the scissors I had. So your little scissors should be okay. They should be fine for the whole TSA thing. However, TSA is still people, and you never know what person you're going to deal with that day who might want to, go above and beyond and take your scissors. However, in theory, they should be totally fine. Sometimes if I'm unsure, I'll bring like my crappiest scissors with, and then if they take it, then it's not going to be the end of the world. All right, I did have enough thread. I think I'm going to get one more itty bitty bitty tiny stitch on the top there, just to finish this guy off. Probably only going to go like 2 threads over. There we go. Now it's like a little point at the top. So, all right, let's tuck in the edges here again. So I'm just weaving back and forth 3 times again. And then this wing will be done. Yeah, this went pretty quick. So I think we have plenty of time to get started on that second wing. See how far we get on that tonight. I'm going to start a new piece of floss just because this just isn't long enough to putz around with, especially with satin stitch. So there we go. It, when the light catches it, you can see it from far away, just the light catch it, and it really does give this like pretty shiny effect. So about here down is where we separated the floss first, and here up we didn't. And you could maybe tell a little, but I'm not going to worry about it so much. If I really wanted it satiny, I would have just done 1 strand, right? So, I'm not going to worry about it too much. All right, I just cut some of the light blue this time. Ooh. Just lost, look at, it's doing that magnet thing that I do sometimes. The stork ate my needle. All right, so again, just to separate these threads. So I could do the thing where I pull 3 strands of each, but that can get tangled. If it touches like the lower thread here, it will just snag on, it'll twist up. And this is actually so much faster. So like, look, I'm gonna pull the 3 strands. Zoop. That's just 1. It always needs a sound effect. Zoop. 2 and 3. You can't do more than 1 strand. You can't pull more than 1 strand. It'll get tangled. But the 1 strand you can do really easily. And I mean, that really was quicker than trying to pull the 3 strands out either way. Oh, she says she loves to hear the fabric pop. Oh, your granddaughter is embroidering the monkey. Fun! That's fun. Oh, she loves to hear the fabric pop. So like when you're pulling the needle through and oh, that's fun. So when you pull the needle through and when the needle pops through to the front of the fabric, that sound, that's pretty cool. All right, so I'm going to do another away knot since I am, I could weave in the ends here and then jump all the way over here and start this, but that's kind of a pretty big leap. I don't like doing that as much. So I'm going to do another away knot. I'll do the away knot here and then start here. Is there a place online that will have embroidery kits? So this is all on penguinandfish.com, and you can find some of these kits in some other places. So if you prefer Amazon, I know there's some on Amazon. And this guy you can get from Joann Fabrics and from Target. The owl here. I do have it. I'm having a flash sale on this owl kit through the 31st. I just decided to do that today, just because I'm back and I thought it'd be kind of fun. But it is I'm doing it 50% off, so I've never had anything 50% off before. So the owl kit is 50% off through Thursday. All right. So this is feeling a little goofy. I'm actually doing this backwards from what I did before, because remember here I went from right to left, right to left, right to left, and here I'm going to do left to right. And I do kind of have a reason for that. So remember, we are going to be able to cover up this edge, and we're going to be able to cover up this edge because there's a back stitch there. This outer edge, I'm not going to cover up. It's going to be like raw, like this. And for me, I am far more accurate when I'm going down like this versus coming up. Because like going down here, I can see where the needle's going in. I can see it's exactly on that line. Versus when you come up, I'm dragging my thread here to kind of see where it's going to come up, dragging my needle, and, I'm kind of guessing in the end, right? So coming up from the back, I'm thinking that edge is going to be just a hair more jagged. And since we're going to be covering up that edge, I figured that can be my jagged edge, and my exposed edge can be my nicer, cleaner edge. Although I'm already going at quite an angle here. So that's kind of my thought process there. Libby, no, this guy is not in the book. So all of the book patterns are unique from everything else on the website. So there's no crossover in the patterns there. I do have this guy as a PDF pattern if you want to get started right away, but that's not on sale. And the sale of the kit kind of makes it almost the price of the downloadable pattern. All right, here you guys, look. My angle is way down like that. I need to bring it back up. I could actually continue it at this angle if I wanted to, but just to keep it the same as this, I want to angle it back up. So I'm gonna get in close, like I might even go in the same hole almost as my last stitch here, and we're gonna go like 2 threads away. So that's kind of a bigger gap. You don't want to go so fast. I'm gonna ease up. So this one I'm still gonna do like 1 stitch away, and then I'll do 2 stitches away, because I don't want it to be super obvious that I'm straightening it out. So I'm going to do it over a few stitches, but eventually it should kind of straighten out a little bit. Oh, Terry, that's awesome. All right, see, we're getting a little straighter there. You can kind of see these ones are definitely straighter than these ones down here. So you just want to always be kind of eyeballing that. These lines should help a little bit. So I think tonight we'll probably get halfway or so done. I'll probably just finish this thread. How about that? Which will get us about halfway done with this wing. So we'll finish this wing, and then we will do this beak. And I think we'll do. I want to try that raised satin stitch. I know it's kind of a small area, that beak, but it would be kind of fun to try. So we'll do a raised, or a padded, it's a padded satin stitch. We'll do a padded satin stitch for the beak. Then I think we'll get on the back stitch. We'll start outlining this thing. Oh, you have a 4-year-old, Alyssa? Oh, that's so fun. Oh, Leslie Ann, so the 50% off this owl kit, that will go through Thursday, so that's the 31st, so through Halloween, through the end of Halloween. So that's how long the 50% off will last. And you're not coming up in the same hole. It kind of looks like it. I am coming up real near, so I'm going to get close up. So I'm coming up like literally gosh, I don't even know if you guys can see, 1 thread away. You can kind of see that one woven piece of thread away. And sometimes if it looks too bunchy, I'll do 2. I'm not being super precious about that, but if I notice it's starting to angle, then I know, oh, I'm probably doing 2 on one side and 1 on the other. You can probably do a little bit wider, but if you start seeing gaps in between your thread, then you've gone a bit wide. You can fill it in with a stitch if you need to. Gosh, you know what? It's not feeling quite comfortable holding it like that, so I'm going to turn it like this. However, like once you're starting stitching, play with how you're holding your hoop and everything. You don't always have to be looking straight on your project. I turn it to whatever is comfortable in my hand. I mean, that can be different if you're stitching with a stand, an embroidery stand or something like that, but if I'm just holding it like I am now, sometimes I just go with what feels most comfortable. And this is feeling, top to bottom is feeling pretty okay right now. I'm still trying to go on the outer edge of the line so it covers up the line. Ooh, even though these aren't padded, it is still really poofy. These wings are still popping off of the surface here, which is just so fun. We are just going to have a tiny little bit left, but I think that's how it's going to be tonight. It's getting late already. That's crazy. It went so fast today. But I'm actually surprised. I didn't think we'd get both these wings, well, just about done. They're not quite done, but still. Satin stitch can take some time, but it's usually worth it. It's just such a fun stitch. It's kind of like a statement stitch. Oh, you like using small hoops, like 4 to 5 inch hoops. I do enjoy a smaller hoop as well. I've been stitching on these 8-inch ones for so long, so I'm just kind of used to them, but yeah, a smaller hoop is nice. And then you would just move the hoop around to whatever you're stitching. So if I'm just stitching this area, then I'd have the hoop there, and then I'd move it up to this area. So you don't have to fit the entire design in a hoop to stitch it. So you don't actually need an embroidery hoop that's bigger than your piece. If you're worried that, like if one of you has like a smaller hoop and you're like, oh, I can't stitch it because the design's bigger than the hoop, that doesn't matter. You can move the hoop around. You'll just be covering up the stitches with the hoop every once in a while. You just have to be careful not to pull on your stitches as best you can, but you can move the hoop around. Oh, you feel like you have more control with the smaller hoop? I have a few, have some new designs that I'm working on. We had a little preview of one of the new designs that shine like a diamond, that diamond embroidery, or the Shine Bright. It was the Shine Bright. Shine like a diamond. Shine Bright. It was that diamond pattern that said Shine Bright on, and that has a smaller hoop, and I have a few other ones that will have some small hoops as well. Oh my gosh, you guys, I do not think... Maybe I have enough floss. I think this is going to be a situation where I'm going to have like 3 stitches left. All of these are pretty small. Maybe I can make it there. Oh, I'm going to try and spread these stitches a little bit, but I don't want holes either. See, I kind of have a little hole there. Oh, yeah, I'm going to have to go back. See, that was too many threads apart. I can see fabric in there. Let's throw a stitch back in there. Ugh. If we can manage this would be awesome if I didn't have to get a whole other piece of thread out. Had that big away knot. Maybe if I didn't do that big away knot, I'd have enough thread or floss here, but you know what? I think we're gonna make it. Ooh, that's maybe too far out. I think maybe 3 more little baby stitches. Ugh. Awesome. Yay! So we're totally finishing it with this one piece of floss. That's awesome. It's a bit skinnier, this wing, than the last wing. So more thread to spare. This is the best when you have just enough floss. Alright. Looking good. Let's tuck those ends in. Made me nervous. That would have been a bummer just to have 5 baby stitches left to do or something. This worked out perfect. Okay, so that was the back and forth 3 times. If you don't have enough thread, it's hard to go back and forth. That tuck in the edges, the ends. There's my little away knot. Hey, Leah, nice to see you. All right, let's tuck in this. and we'll weave in the ends here too. So I wanted to show you guys kind of what I was thinking I could do with this. So I'll do, you know, because I don't think this is going to take us all the way till Thursday to finish. Well, I don't know, maybe it will. But I thought maybe we could add some decoration on the outside of it. I have some little, like, ribbon snippets, and I thought we could kind of put those around. So you guys, when we make these kits, we tie a little bow on all of the kits, right? So like here's an example of the bow. But what you might not have noticed is that we do actually trim the bow so it's got these nice little ends to it as well. So I've been saving those. So here's a bag of little ribbon ends. This is by far not the total amount, but they're too, I'm just the worst. They're too cute to throw away. I feel like my mom's hard rolling her eyes at me with this, but so I've saved all these tiny little bits of ribbon, and what I thought would be kind of cute is, I mean, they totally match the owl. Like it's the same kind of colors as the owl here, except for maybe the blue, but I think that would look cute. I thought we could maybe stitch a bunch of them around here. So ultimately, it's going to be framed. It's going to be framed in the hoop like this. But what if we put like a bunch of little decorative little ribbons? Originally, I was thinking we could like machine sew it on, like put a ton down with the Fabri-Solvi. But now I'm thinking just like little bits here and there that we could tack down with some of the embroidery floss. Just like make kind of a little frame around it. Maybe just that out of a pile of these little ribbons. I don't know. I thought we could do a little experiment with that. But ooh, yeah, Robin, I need to totally get a bunch of those clear glass balls from somewhere. I'm sure they're everywhere now. I just have to go look. But I have so many scraps of things that would be so cute in in those. You're totally right. I totally need to do that. Gosh, I could just, tie them down with a French knot. Oh, I love that idea. Okay, Aaliyah, we are totally doing that. We're going to tie them down with a French knot. It's going to be like we're working with, delicate sequins for Chanel or something, right? Going to tie them all down. I think that'd look cute. We can start off with some flecks of them, and if we feel like we need more, we could add more. Ooh, yeah, or it could be a nest. Ooh, that would be kind of cute, too. We could just put a whole pile of them right here, and then maybe center, scooch this all up so it's a little centered. That would be kind of cute, too. We'll have to think about that. So once we're done with the embroidery, we'll get all those little flecks out, and then we'll play with some ideas. But I think that'd be fun. That'd be a nice little way to finish this. If you want to do something a little bit more than just in the hoop here. But I gotta start doing something with all these. I got bags of these. Oh my god. Alright, you guys, so that is it for tonight. Got those satiny wings done. I'm going to flip you guys around and we'll call it an evening here. There, hello again. Again, it is so nice to be back and hanging out with you guys. Here we go. Ooh, look at it shine though. You really can see it shine, the shine moving in the light. So, it looks very satiny, hence the satin stitch, but it's just, ooh, it feels fancy. So, all right, you guys, we'll do that beak really quickly tomorrow and then start all the outlines. Again, we're going to leave those French knots to the end. I don't want my thread catching on all those French knots, so I save those to the end when I can. Stitch the center of the ribbon. Oh, I missed that. I'll have to look at that again. Oh, it's so nice to be awake. Yes, I'm glad you caught the end of it tonight, Aaliyah. Nice to see you. But all right, you guys. Oh, and so again, if you share this video or any of the videos through Thursday when we're working on this, I'm going to be giving this away. So the finished embroidery, anyone who shares it will be entered into the giveaway for the finished owl that we create here
within the next couple days. And then it's also through Thursday, I'm having a sale. It is 50% off on penguinandfish.com. So that's way more than I've done for a sale before, 50% off of the owl kit. I send an email about that as well. I'll send a reminder email on Thursday just so you don't miss it. But it's the code is right on when you go to the link for it below. It's also in the sales section on the site. It'll say what the code is to get the 50% off. So awesome, you guys! I will see you tomorrow. And I'll get this up on YouTube at Penguin and Fish Movies if you wanted to check it out again to help with your embroidery. And yes, see you tomorrow. Have a great evening, everyone. Nice to see you again. Good night.